What's it been like? 3, 4 years?
8 years, 7 months, and 6 days, give or take.
Am I sensing feelings?
Yeah, you're right.
Tessa, congratulations on the movie. It's a wild fever dream of a film. And I just loved every second of Valkyrie on screen.
Oh, thanks so much. That's such a good way to describe it that no one has said, the idea of a fever dream. That's like I think that's such a high compliment and pretty right on.
Yeah, it's absolutely what it is. And I think back to Valkyrie's first appearance in Ragnarok. She falls out of a ship, she's drunk. But then she picks herself up and, instantly she's just this total badass with so much swagger. Like, what did you and Taika Waititi talk about over the past 2 films in terms of creating this character, her strengths and her weaknesses?
Yeah, well, that was a big thing, actually, her introduction. It was a way to signal to the audience. There's this, she comes out and she's so cool. And it's sort of our way of, also making good fun of superhero tropes, where she comes out and you sort of expect she's just going to march down that platform and have it together, and instead she falls over. And of course, a big part of her reason for drinking at that time is she's dealing with a lot of trauma, and pain and sadness. And I think really rejoining a team gives her a sense of purpose. When we find her in this movie, she's now king of Asgard. She's really good at her job. She loves her people, but she's navigating these new duties and sort of still missing her sisters, missing the battlefield. And what I love about making these films, Marvel films, but particularly with Taika and the world that we've created in these Thor movies, is the idea that you can really send up things that are human and true, but you can do it with humor, and that moments that are really funny also careen with moments that are really heartfelt. And I think that that's kind of the way that life is. So I really love sort of the tone of these films and playing inside of them. It's you get to kind of do everything.
And the journey of this character is so interesting because in Ragnarok, she was doing everything she could to kind of run away from responsibility. Now she's the king of New Asgard. Like, how does she feel about being responsible for all of these people now?
She likes it, and I think she's very good at it. I think the thing that is a little hard for her that she didn't anticipate about being king is the bureaucracy and all of the paperwork and the meetings. Because the truth is, for thousands of years, she was essentially a career soldier protecting Asgard. So that's sort of what she thought, protect my people? Yeah, I can do that. She also didn't anticipate, New Asgard now has become this sort of tourist destination. So there's a part of Asgard that has become this kind of corporate entity. And I think being the face of this, destination for tourists is something that is fun and also something that's new for her, and she's still trying to navigate how to do that and what it means.
As you mentioned, she's the king of New Asgard. She's also in this commercial for Old Spice, which is a quintessentially male beauty product. What does it mean to you to be playing a character that has this complexity around gender and also sexuality? Because, of course, she's Marvel's first LGBTQ superhero.
It's really exciting for me because some of my favorite artists, folks that I grew up really looking up to, are folks that sort of challenged our ideas around gender and the fact that gender is a construct that some of us don't fit too squarely in, whether they're artists like David Bowie or Prince or Grace Jones. I've always really looked up to artists that are, or Frida Kahlo, which, by the way, Valkyrie's 3-piece suits are inspired by Frida Kahlo and the way that she would look in suits. And so I really love the idea of playing with gender expression and how it affects our identity and idea of self. So I love to get to do that with Valkyrie. And, I think sometimes people think that it's so intentional to try to ruffle feathers. But the truth is, she is called King Valkyrie only because the job was king. Thor would have become king, and he didn't feel like he was suited for the job, and he gave it to his friend Valkyrie, and so we didn't bother to change it into queen because the job is king, and she can do it even though she's very much a woman. So I really loved that. I really love being able to say that our gender and our expression doesn't define us as humans, and certainly doesn't define what we can and cannot do.
Valkyrie's relationship with Thor has always been so interesting. Ever since she took him prisoner in Ragnarok, Tell me about working with Chris Hemsworth.
He's become such a dear friend. You know what's so cute is, I've become close and had the chance to spend time with his family, and his kids still will say to me like it took them a while to begin to trust me because they're like, "You're the one that captured Daddy," and I was like, "Yes, I did, but we're friends, and he was safe the whole time." But it's just been a joy to get to work with him in these films and to work with him elsewhere, and I think he's such a talented actor and such a generous, scene partner, and also just such a great human. And not for nothing, I think there's a reason why he's a part of the franchise that has the most standalones in the Marvel universe, because I think audiences just find him so endearing, and he really truly is. I think what we like about him on screen are the things that I know to be true of him as a human.
Valkyrie develops a very special bond with Jane Foster in this movie. What did you appreciate most about Natalie Portman's performance, which is very different from what we usually see her do?
Yeah, I think I just appreciated off screen all of the dedication to playing the role and the kind of dedication that it takes to do all the fight choreography and to get in shape. And then, I just am such I admire her so much as just a human outside of and the work that she does around advocacy in our industry, and how engaged she is as a citizen, and how much she wants to use her platform to do good in this world. And to me, that makes her kind of a real life superhero. And then to see her on screen, she's sort of in a way the avatar for the audience, because she is in a superhero movie, but also kind of understanding how to be a superhero and trying to figure out the catchphrase and how you do it. And it's almost like you pluck someone from the audience and threw them on screen, and that's kind of what Mighty Thor is. And I think that's really great fun to watch.
Taika Waititi encourages a lot of improvisation on set. Can you tell us a bit about that process, and which one of the cast always delivered the funniest lines when you were improving?
That's so fun. I just love getting to improvise. It gives you so much agency also over your character, and it makes every day so surprising. And the truth is, with Taika, you feel so taken care of, because if you ever feel like you can't quite figure out what to say or what to do, he's always throwing out lines to us.
Kids, get the popcorn now.
And so I'd have to say, although I hate to admit it, Taika might be the best at improvisation, because even some of our best lines he's shouted at us to say, or he's fed to us. But I'm proud of myself. I've said there's some lines that made it into the film that I improvised on my own. So I think that's always a proud moment when you're like, hey, that's in the movie. It's really cool, and gives you a tremendous amount of freedom, and it makes the process so joyful.
And this film, of course, was shot in Australia. Can you do an Aussie accent?
No, I'm so bad. I tried. I'm really it's the hardest. It's so funny because I worked with a dialect coach who is incredible at Victoria, and I told her, I was like, if I ever have to do an Aussie accent, I have to start working with you like a year in advance at least. I can say like, "Good day, mate."
Yeah, that's okay. I think let's end the interview before it gets any worse. Tessa, thanks for talking to me. Absolutely love the movie. Congratulations. You're fantastic. Take care.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.